The GoCurrency.com sports ticker. I'm Tim Mulhaupt on the Huskers Radio Network. Happy Wednesday, Huskers fans. Welcome into another episode of Sports Nightly. We start with Huskers volleyball, where sophomore libero Lexi Rodriguez was named a ABCA second-team All-American today. Rodriguez earned the second All-America honor of her career after averaging 4.26 digs per set, and was an essential member of the Huskers, holding opponents to a nation-best 128 hitting percentage. Outside hitter Maddie Kubik was named an ABCA honorable mention after leading the Huskers with 3.11 kills and 2.54 digs per set. She finishes her Huskers career with 3 ABCA honorable mentions and being named third-team All-American last year. In Nebraska women's gymnastics, they received praise today as 2 gymnasts from the program, sophomore Emma Spence and senior Clara Colombo, were named to the Big Ten's Gymnast to Watch list. The Huskers will open their 2022-23 season with a meet against Arkansas on Saturday, January 7th at 3 p.m. Elsewhere in college sports today, it is in Big Ten men's basketball. Minnesota hosts Arkansas Pine Bluff at 7 p.m. And 16th-ranked UCLA visits 20th-ranked Maryland at 8. In the women's side of the Big Ten, earlier today, Minnesota bested Milwaukee 75-59. And later at 7, Wisconsin battles Green Bay. Northwestern tips off against UIC. And the Huskers' own Amy Williams is live in our studio with Matt Coatney for the Nebraska Women's Basketball Show. Again, that coming up at 7 p.m. In pro sports at the World Cup, France defeated Morocco 2-0, as Greg would say, to advance to the World Cup Championship, the final that will take place on Sunday at 9 a.m. Central Time, as it'll be France taking on Lionel Messi and Argentina. After an autopsy conducted in New York City, American soccer journalist Grant Wall's death at the World Cup was ruled to be the result of an aneurysm in his heart, and that was according to his wife, Dr. Celine Gounder. And in American women's soccer, an investigation into the National Women's Soccer League revealed ongoing misconduct on over half the teams in the league and called for stricter anti-harassment rules to protect players from both sexual harassment and coercion by coaches and other staff that have been taking place in recent times. In baseball, another mega deal was signed late last night in MLB free agency. After missing out on Aaron Judge, the San Francisco Giants signed former Astros and Twins shortstop Carlos Correa to a 13-year, $350 million contract. Correa earned both the longest and highest valued contract ever given to a shortstop in baseball history. This update is presented by Currency. Does your business need help financing big-ticket items like equipment, trucks, and trailers? Currency is here to help. Visit GoCurrency.com for details. That's the ticker. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and Sports Nightly is next on the Huskers Radio Network.
This is the Nebraska Men's Basketball Radio Show with head coach Fred Hoiberg. Presented by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit buyfordnow.com.
Back out to Griesel. The fake, the drive, the kick. Vandemel's 3. Got it! Another 3-ball by Vandemel. He's got 2 of those puppies this afternoon. Another CVA 3. Huge goal. The kick out. Jenkins touch pass. Morton 3-ball no. Into the hands of Gary. Down the floor to Tominaga. Tominaga puts it up. Got it! Got it! Got it! Got it! We've got a 4-point game! Holy smokes! Keisei Tominaga with 12:07 to go. Griesel to Walker. Squares. Edie is on him. Cuts across the key. Backs him in. Throws one up and got it with a left hand. That's that hook from waist-high level. Griesel on the right sideline. Starts in. Cut off. Tominaga 3-ball on the way. Bang! Bang-a-ring! Tominaga ties this puppy at 56. Tominaga with 8 on the shot clock. Over to Wiltshire. 7. High post. It's Walker. Drives in on Edie again. Throws it up. And in! The first lead of the game! Derek Walker gives Nebraska a 58-57 lead.
Here is your host, Greg Sharpe, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Good evening, welcome, Sports Nightly. It's now officially Wednesday. I was so confused yesterday if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, but everyone has now confirmed and told me I'm safe to say today is Wednesday.
Yes, today is Wednesday. So hopefully now you will know what day it is the rest of the week.
I don't know why. Last night I was confused. I felt like it had already been a long week.
I'll tell you what, I think it's because we have shows every night of the week.
I think you're right.
So it's like, this is the first week. Is this the first full week we've had in...
Maybe since summer?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just been kind of kind of crazy, and it's when you are used to a certain rhythm and then you get into another, it just throws you off.
It does. It does throw you off. Well, they don't have all 2 hours of you and I tonight, just an hour, because Amy Williams will be here in hour 2. It's our women's basketball show for the week. Matt Coatney, Amy Williams will talk women's hoops in hour number 2. So get your comments, questions ready for her. It's finals week, and they do not play until Sunday when they host Wyoming, and then they have Kansas coming in next week to wrap up the non-conference. 2 pretty good tests for that team to wrap up non-league play. Non-conference. 2 pretty good tests for that team to wrap up non-league play.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And that's been a big storyline throughout. I mean, once we saw the schedule released and when we saw some of these non-conference opponents rolling in, and this is a team that went to the NCAA tournament. They got a bad seed, as far as a tough seed, I guess. And in order to convince the committee, because they hadn't been in, you have to put together a resume to convince the committee to show that you are deserving of a more favorable seat to potentially host at your home arena. That's what's great about the women's first and second round games. Could you imagine this place for a first and second round for women's basketball? It would be packed. It would be what the sport needs, to be honest with you, I think. I mean, getting these teams to host that are going to actually pack the place and give an environment and an atmosphere that these ladies deserve. But anyways, that is kind of got off the point there. But yeah, they wanted to put together a resume that they could convince the committee. And it's, you know, you talk about RPI and it's actually net for basketball, and you get more points or more style points for going on the road and winning, and for neutral site home games, and so, or neutral site games. And so, yeah, I think that this staff wanted to challenge this team. They were young last year. You got it rolling. They hadn't played, and a lot of them hadn't played together, but now they need to take a step forward, and a lot of that is how you challenge them in the non-conference.
So, Coach Williams, hour number 2 tonight here on the program. Here in a few minutes, Mitch Sherman of the Athletics is going to join us. He's got a pretty good piece he posted yesterday about Tony White, the new defensive coordinator, and kind of the origins of the 3-3-5 defense, which has got a lot of attention since it was announced that Coach White would be joining Coach Rural and the staff and the defensive coordinator here. It'll be interesting to hear Mitch's take on that and the connection between Coach White and Coach Rural. Coach Rural has been so funny watching and following his social media feed, trying to guess where he is. Been back in Pennsylvania the last couple of days. His old stomping grounds in Temple. He put up a building on the Temple campus.
Well, listen,
yesterday.
They were very successful recruiting that area, and they got some guys that are familiar with that area, and then he's going to be in Texas. He's going to hit up Texas. I think that's the recipe for success around here. Yes, you hit home first, and that's what he's done. We've seen him do that, and he's going to go to Texas where he already has ties, but then you reach out to the best players nationwide, and he has ties to get some of the best players on the East Coast. He's done it before, and so I think that's beneficial and good for this program to spread it out and get the best talent. Well, the best talent for this program and what he sees fits for this program from across the country. And I think there's definitely a method to his madness. But, yeah, he's been busy and also posting an array of food that he's been hitting up.
Love it. Trev last night says, yes, I'm approving all these expenses on where to fly and all this stuff. So that's part of the game, though. And, you know, this is the season for all these coaches across the country. They are zipping everywhere, going into high schools and visiting different prospects. And a lot of them, Jessica, are going to be here this weekend. That a big visit weekend coming up.
Another huge weekend, and we've talked a lot about this. You are limited to the amount of official visits that you can have on campus. But when there's a head coaching change, the official visits that have already come can come back. And so there's official number, but it's well over that because they've got a lot of guys that are coming that have been here before and want to come and get a chance to get to know the staff. And that's the thing. There are several guys that are coming that stayed committed and talked to Coach Rural. He did in-home visits, but they wanted to come here and get to know him a little bit better, to understand and just build that relationship, that bond. And some of these guys will be coming in early, some of them won't. And so any chance for them to get to know this staff better, I think they're jumping at that. And I think it's cool too. We've seen some of these guys in this class that have been really supportive of each other and retweeting each other and recruiting each other, and also a chance to get to spend some time together, because this is a group that hopefully a good chunk of them will go through a lot of battles together during their time as a Cornhusker.
Speaking of relationships, you surprised at all that the portal has not been busier with Cornhuskers entering to this point? I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
pleasantly.
Yes, I mean, I think maybe initially I was concerned that would be the case, but then again, I've heard so many things about that initial team meeting with Matt Rule and the team and how impressive he was, and then also the individual meetings that he's having with guys. And so, yeah, I think I've had a couple people ask me, like, concerned about some of the players that have entered the portal, and I think a lot of those were going no matter what. You know, I think there are certain players that probably would go look for other playing time or just trying to find a better fit. And so, I mean, a lot of those impact players that we were kind of holding our breath on, but again, you still have till, what, January 18th?
You do.
But I think that really speaks volumes to the staff, but also to this group of guys in this locker room. Remember, this group loved playing together. They were very, very close. And I think probably a lot of them want to stick together to try to turn this thing around. And they saw how close they were, how close they've been. And so I would guess, too, and again, well, once we start doing interviews with some of these guys, when we find out for sure, but that's part of it, too. I mean, yes, I think they believe in Matt Rule and some of these guys that they're bringing in, but I also think they want to stick together because they've battled through so much together. Think about the adversity that this group has been through, and they love each other, and they have such a cool chemistry. I mean, I said that all throughout the year, that this has been that was one of my favorite teams I've covered, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them say that in why they wanted to stick around is for each other, in addition to believing in the future and the vision of Coach Rule.
We're 9 days into the 45-day period. And, yes, the Huskers, I think, are 10 or 11 that have gone. We got one back. Jamari Butler went and then got a few offers from places and decided, nah, I want to stay there. So one has already come back. And, again, a couple of others could still come back. And I'm thinking of Ernest. I mean, I think a lot of us are holding our breath that maybe Ernest will decide to stay a Cornhusker moving forward. That is one position we have not had an official announcement of who the coach is that linebacker position.
Yeah, and also that's a position they're going to need to find some depth.
They do.
Because Chris Kolarvik played his last football game as a Husker, and Ernest Hausman is gone. They were already didn't have a lot of depth there anyways, and then Ball's gone.
Yeah.
So you're down to, two really contributors in that room, and both guys, unfortunately, have had trouble staying healthy. And so I would imagine that's a spot that maybe they think they have some freshmen like Ernest that maybe could potentially step in, but that's a position they're really looking at in the portal, too.
You have to. And Nebraska's not been overly active in the portal yet. They did get a long snapper in the portal, but they've not been overly aggressive yet. But that still could come. And again, you're just 9 days into this long period of time.
I think, too, I think we'll see more guys enter the portal. I know we've seen a lot now, but after bowl games,
sure.
So they're still
from other schools.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is once these other teams play their final game, I think we'll see even more and another influx of it.
Well, why wouldn't you want to take the bowl trip first?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a kid, if I'm Andrew's age, I'm going to want to go have a good time in Miami or Phoenix or wherever the bowl game is, and then decide afterwards, yeah, I'm going to throw my name in.
Yeah, speaking of bowl games and transfer portals, how interesting is that Oklahoma State-Wisconsin game going to be? Because both of those teams have had guys enter the portal in a hurry, and big-time players.
Yeah, they sure have. Speaking of big-time players, we know that Lexi Rodriguez is a big-time player named today, second-team All-American, the only Husker to be on one of the first three teams. Maddie Kubik got honorable mention, but there she is. She's 2 for 2. And what was the last time Lauren was with us and said, man, you don't think of Lexi as a young player, but she is. She's only halfway through her career.
She said she thought she's a senior every year. Well, she's just a sophomore. So that says a lot if she thought she was a senior. And she has how many big-time plays and moments and momentum swings. Like when the Huskers absolutely had to have it, boy, she made just a completely match game swinging play, and she is phenomenal. She is unbelievable, and I'm so glad we still get 2 more years left of her.
And just her personality is infectious.
Yes.
She just always has a smile on her face, and she's just one of those kind of kids you want to go wrap your arms around. Just like, I just love the fact that she's a Husker.
She's so kind and so friendly and so genuine, and her and Allie Batenhorst spoke at that sportsmanship rally earlier back in November before the women's basketball game, and that was in the middle of their season, and it was busy times, and it was kind of early in the morning, and boy, they were so great with the kids and had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, just to, that whole sophomore class is really special, and it's going to be fun to see how they continue to develop. And you heard Lauren say that last night about how sometimes it takes time to develop and figure out how to play at this level, especially at the Big Ten level. It's going to be interesting to see where that class leaves, potentially one of the best in program history.
Those are some of the first interviews you did when you got to town.
It was
with that group of freshmen.
It really was. So they had played for Team USA in the World Cup, I think.
Lindsay and Allie you talked to?
Lindsay, Allie, and Lexi.
And Lexi, all three.
All three of them played. And so that was fun.
Yeah. And now their careers are half over. How about that?
I like to
snap your fingers and boom.
So if you're a pessimist, it's half over.
Yeah. Optimist, still have half to go.
Yeah, half to go. That's what I'm saying.
Glass half full, half empty.
Yes, so I'm saying I'm glad they still have 2 years left.
Absolutely. All right, so congratulations to Lexi, second team All-American. Those All-American teams came out earlier today. All the teams of the Final Four up in Omaha. Practice had media sessions today. And then tomorrow, it's first serve. You've got Texas playing San Diego. And then an all-ACC semi with Louisville taking on Pittsburgh. I hate to say it, I think Texas is a favorite to win it.
Yeah, it sounded like Lauren felt that way too last night.
Yeah, she didn't want to. She's rooting for San Diego, but I think
you think that will be probably the favorite, or no? I guess Louisville.
With Danny coaching Louisville, I think they'll be pulling hard for them.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this thing unfolds.
Yep. Should be great volleyball. Two matches tomorrow, and then the championship matches on Saturday night up at the CHI Center. Hey, folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. All right, full hour ahead with us, and then hour 2, Amy Williams in studio with Matt Coatney. When we come back, Mitch Sherman of The Athletic will join us. We'll hear about his latest piece that's been posted on The Athletic about Coach White and the 3-3-5 defense. That's coming up next.
The Lead Center for Performing Arts is celebrating 33 years of bringing the world's top artists to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln campus. Upcoming shows include Hamilton, Yo-Yo Ma, American Ballet Theater, and Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. Get tickets at leadcenter.org.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance. Visit shelterinsurance.com and find an agent to help you choose the coverage you need. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
The Ford truck lineup is purpose-built from the ground up, designed to be tough and productive. Crafted with high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy body and torture-tested high-strength steel frame with new tech to help you work smart and hard. The F-150, Ranger, and Maverick are built tough and ready to tackle whatever lies ahead. Hit the road in confidence and learn more about Ford trucks in-store or online anytime at WoodhouseFord.com, your trusted truck dealer since 1975. Woodhouse Ford.
Families who travel to Nebraska's only Ronald McDonald House are facing extremely uncomfortable situations. Their child is sick in an unfamiliar city, unsure of how to handle it all. But when they walk in the Ronald McDonald House, they can find comfort in the little things. A quiet moment away from the bombardment of beeps and buzzes in a hospital room. The taste of a home-cooked meal. A calming voice saying it'll be okay. Help us provide the little things that make a big difference. Support a one-night stay for a family in need by visiting rmhcomaha.org/Huskers.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, Solutions for every field.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre comprehensive programs. Register to win up to $10,000 of risk mitigation when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska is proud to support Husker athletics. Having a confident teammate beside you makes all the difference when it comes to protecting what matters most. With a proven track record of dependable coverage, unmatched financial strength, and a prompt claim service team right here in Nebraska, that's insurance kept local. Visit FMNE.com to contact an agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
Shelley up the middle of the floor. Huskers lead by 11. Shelley, no look pass underneath to Markowski. And it counts. And a foul. Another highlight reel assist from Jazz Shelley. And Markowski goes to the line.
Just a terrific look off by Jazz Shelley.
Hey, Huskers fans, this Sunday, join us as Nebraska women's basketball takes on Wyoming at the PBA. Matt Coatney and Jeff Greesh are live at 1:45 p.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions to every field. Delighted to be joined by Mitch Sherman of The Athletic, who's had a couple interesting columns that I want to dive into with Mitch here in this holiday season. Mitch, hope you're doing okay. Things seem to be kind of settling down a little bit in Huskerland, right? I guess, although got a big signing day still about a week away.
Hey, by comparison to the last 3 months, it's been fairly calm. I know Matt Rule and his staff don't feel like it's been calm over these last 2 weeks. They are everywhere and anywhere on the road since that November 28th hiring date, and at least he's got 7 of his guys, his full-time guys, on board. So he has help out on the road. It's interesting and enjoyable to be able to follow along with Matt Rule. He likes to, as I'm sure most people know, post his whereabouts on social media so we can get a sense of where he's at. Makes it easier for me to track down the coach and be able to talk to people that he's talking to and get a sense of what he's doing and what his staff is doing on the road as they get geared up for signing day, which is, as you mentioned, just a week away on December 21st.
Let's start with Matt. Mitch, you were the first one to really detail his stealth visit to Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Pretty unusual, wasn't it, for a coach to kind of do that? I mean, obviously he wasn't working, so he had the ability to do that. That was, I'm sure, interesting for you to piece that thing together.
Yeah, and thanks, of course, to Trev Alberts for being open about the process in the hours after the hiring. Trev was, of course, stealth himself and very quiet about the entire process during the coaching search. But on the Monday that Matt Rule was hired, he did shed some light, and Matt shed a little bit of light, and others shed more light on exactly what happened over those 76 days and when Matt Rule got involved. And I think the thing that was interesting to a lot of people is what you mentioned, that period of time when Matt and Julie Rule came into Lincoln on October 29th and 30th Angela Alberts, Trev's wife, was essential in allowing that to happen and in going to the Omaha airport and picking up the rules during the second half of the Illinois game that day, and then taking them back to the Alberts house. And they met with Trev and with Ted Carter that night at the Alberts house. And then the next day got dressed up. Matt stuck a hat on, some sunglasses. They drove around Lincoln, looked at neighborhoods, looked at the Haymarket, various areas. They drove past the stadium, did not go in the stadium. That would be too risky. And of course, Trev was very concerned about the private nature of this search and confidentiality. He did not want word to get back to the coaches who were working to finish the Nebraska season that he had a candidate on campus. He thought that would be an unnecessary distraction and something that would get in the way of their mission at the time, which was to try to win football games. So he was able to pull that off, and then the rules went to Ireland on vacation, interestingly, where Nebraska had just been a couple of months before, and heard Trev just this week talk about how Matt Rule got off the plane in Ireland and saw the Nebraska helmet still in the Dublin airport, and texted a picture of it to Trev, and that was a sign in the minds of both of them that maybe this was meant to be.
Mitch Sherman of The Athletic with us here on Sports Night. Then your follow-up piece that dropped yesterday was a peek inside the new defensive coordinator, and that's Tony White. What did you learn as you put this piece together?
Yeah, really interesting. A different kind of piece, of course. The first one that you mentioned was about the search and what happened behind the scenes as Trev went out to find a football coach. And this one from this week, a quick turnaround on Tony White, the new defensive coordinator for Nebraska, and really all of the connections and pieces of the various coaching trees that came together for Tony White to end up in this position in Lincoln. You know, he is, I would say, a third-generation purveyor of the 3-3-5 defense, which originated with Joe Lee Dunn back at Memphis in the early 1990s when his team went out to USC and needed to find some way to be able to play defense against the team that was more talented than his Memphis Tigers. And he came up with this different scheme in the offseason ahead of that 1991 season. Well, Joe Lee Dunn had worked in the early 80s, really just 1 year, 1980, at the University of New Mexico with Rocky Long. Rocky Long then instituted that 3-3-5 defense as the coordinator at Oregon State, and he ran it against UCLA in 1994. Well, 2 years later, Bob Toledo, who was the offensive coordinator at UCLA, became the head coach, and he wanted to hire Rocky Long. He did. Rocky Long recruited Tony White out of El Paso, Texas, to UCLA, and that began a relationship that's extended over the last 20 years between Rocky Long and Tony White. And there are others in that tree too. Zach Arnett, who is now in charge of the Mississippi State program after the unfortunate and untimely passing of Mike Leach this week. Rocky Long is working for Danny Gonzalez at the University of New Mexico. Long is in his 70s, and he's still coordinating a defense. Gonzalez is another guy who was a part of that 3-3-5 coaching tree. So really interesting to learn about Tony and the evolution of that defense, and really just all of the steps along the way that have brought him to this place at Nebraska.
Put up some pretty good numbers, did he not, Mitch, at Syracuse running this style of defense for the Orange, and I think they had some injury situations like most teams do toward the end of this year, but looked like he had a pretty good couple of years there in Syracuse.
Yeah, just a nice steady rise from 2020 to 2021 and then into this season. They've been a top 20 to 25 defense for the last couple of years and really do the things that are the hallmark of this style of defense. You know, I think people hear 3-3-5 and they think, okay, that's a little gimmicky or quirky, and, you know, perhaps you're light at the line of scrimmage with five guys in the back. I mean, it's a nickel style defense. Of course, that's what the five in the back indicates. But in talking to Rocky Long And in talking to Bob Toledo, who was intrigued enough by this defense at UCLA back in his time before he was Tony White's college coach, to actually go out and hire Long from a rival Pac-12 program. The thing that they said, and the thing that I've read about this defense, is that it's not really 3-3 and 5. It can be 4-2. It can be 5-2. It's dependent on the personnel. And the thing that's consistent from one program to another that uses this defense is just the ability to disguise things, the ability to capitalize on the specific personnel that you have on your roster, so that if you're heavy at players who thrive at positions like the nickel or outside linebacker or inside linebacker, you're able to craft this defense to find ways to get all of those guys on the field, really just the best 11 players on the field. And they come at offenses from various angles and with various looks and with lots of blitzing. What it does is it puts stress on the corners. So Tony White, as a former cornerbacks coach himself, I'm sure is going to have a lot of involvement with Evan Cooper, the new Nebraska secondary coach, in making sure that those corners not only are trained well to be able to thrive on a defensive island, but also that Nebraska is continuing to recruit the kind of athletes at the cornerback spot that are needed to work in this defense that is dependent on successful and strong play at that position.
Getting busy with Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. He's got a piece posted now about how Tony White and the 3-3-5 defense ended up at Nebraska with Matt Rule. And it is a little bit different, Mitch, the addition of this staff, the coalition of this staff, unlike Scott Frost and Mike Riley, who basically brought almost their entire groups with them from their previous stops. This one's a little bit more of kind of a hodgepodge of people, right? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the chemistry of this group comes together.
Yeah, I mean, the common thread, of course, is Rule. And so far, everybody on this staff, with the exception of Donovan Raiola, the offensive line coach, worked with Rule or spent time with Rule somewhere. And even Tony White, the defensive coordinator, when he finished his career at UCLA in 2000, he had a year left to graduate before he went and played in the CFL, and he stayed around the UCLA program in 2001. He liked to get in the offices and look at recruiting film and break down film. He had very much a coaching mind. So he was still around in 2001, and that's the year that Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator, brought in Matt Rule as an assistant defensive line coach. So Matt Rule was there. His 1 year on the West Coast and all of his time in coaching happened to be the 1 year after Tony White finished playing at UCLA and was still around the program. So those guys had that brief connection there over 1 year at UCLA before they went off their separate directions over the next 2 decades. Everybody else, as I mentioned, coached with him, coached with Rule at Temple, at Baylor, or with the Carolina Panthers. Donovan Raiola, of course, being the one exception to that. And when we get the chance to talk to Matt Rule again, I assume that's going to be next Wednesday on signing day, it'll be interesting to hear about his decisions that he had to make with this coaching staff, and what about Raiola really hit it off and struck a chord with Matt Rule, so to want to choose him to be the one guy who remained from the previous staff. It's interesting when looking at the dynamic of this staff, Greg, that he's got fairly inexperienced coaches on the offensive line and the defensive line. Raiola's got the 1 year of Power 5 full-time experience at Nebraska, and then Terrence Knighton, his defensive line coach. This is his first full-time coaching job in college. What I think that says is that Rule is going to have a significant involvement at both lines of scrimmage. And that aligns very much with what he said 2 weeks ago Monday at his introductory press conference, that his primary objective, or one of his primary objectives at Nebraska, is to turn this program into one that wins at the line of scrimmage and dominates physically in the way that I think all Nebraska fans would want to see this program do. So Matt Rule hiring young coaches, more inexperienced coaches to work with his linemen, it tells me that he's going to have a lot of involvement, and he's putting those guys in a position so that he can mold them as the coaches that he wants and teach offensive and defensive line play in the way that he prefers.
Well, Mitch, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks for kind of updating us. It's a great read, folks. The Athletic, if you are not a subscriber, it'd be a nice little Christmas gift maybe for someone in your family. Mitch, we always appreciate the time. Happy holidays to you and your family, and I'm sure we'll be in touch in the new year.
All right, great. Thanks, Greg. Same to you.
There he is, Mitch Sherman of The Athletic, joining us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. With 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned, you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. All right, phone lines, text lines back open for you, 402-413-2400. We're back with more of the show coming up next.
Can you name one thing that's more exciting than football in Nebraska? Okay, maybe not, but there's something that comes close. Scratch tickets from the Nebraska Lottery. That's right. Choose from a variety of play styles with huge top prizes. There's something fun for everyone. So, when football isn't on, pick up some scratch tickets from the Nebraska Lottery.
Play is good. Go play. Odds vary by game.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid minerals with protein or Redmond natural mineral salt for livestock or humans, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blahorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
While some seed companies put a greater stake in stock prices and anonymous shareholders, Rob Seco knows that what's important to you hits closer to home. That's why you'll find we're focused on your needs. With a simplicity that makes us easy to do business with, a relationship that makes it easy to connect with anyone in the company, and the technology, traits, and genetics you need from any source. Put your stock in the company that puts you first. Rob Seco.
Across the timeline to Tominaga, back to Griesel. Griesel on the right sideline, starts in, cut off. Tominaga, 3-ball on the way. Bang! Bang-a-ring! Tominaga ties this puppy at 56!
Hey, Huskers fans, this Saturday, join us as Nebraska men's basketball battles Kansas State in Kansas City. Ken Pavelka and Jake Muehlheisen have the call at 5 p.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike.
Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Welcome back. It's hour one of Sports Outlet tonight. Again, at the top of the hour, it's our women's basketball show for the week. Amy Williams will be in here. Matt Coatney will steer the ship for that hour. But still plenty of time if you want to be a part of this hour, 402-413-2400, or you can fire off a text if that's your preferred mode of communication. Let's head to the phones. Let's go to Minnesota. Tim joined us next. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening. Hey, I had a text, a little bit of a clip about, I was thinking when you were talking about where Coach Rule was, it kind of reminded me of where's Waldo, but then there were some other things that came to my mind that I wanted to ask about. First, I'm consciously optimistic about the whole deal with Coach Rule, but what came to mind was several coaches I wish, maybe had been retained. I'm happy about Raiola. I wish Bush and Fisher and maybe Coach Root had been retained, especially. I was thinking with what Mitch Sherman was saying about offense, defense, the line of scrimmage. The other thing, I was wondering if you, special teams, which reminded me of Coach Bush, could you refresh me on what Coach Rule has said about the role of special teams in a rural Husker team?
Well, I don't know that he's really talked much specifically about special teams, Tim. I mean, we really only heard from Coach Rural on the day that he was hired. A lot of that's still to be determined. So I'm not, we really haven't done a deep dive into what he thinks about special teams. He does have a special teams coordinator. Coach Foley has been hired, and he will run the special teams game. But I don't know that we've really heard a lot from Coach Rural about his thoughts on special teams.
Okay, yeah, because obviously that's something that needs to continue to get better. I certainly saw progress this year, but that's the big thing on my mind. I hope that some of those other guys, at least, get somewhere and stuff if they can't land here, obviously. And then, of course, there's Coach Brown, though he might be close to retirement. So that's all.
Tim, appreciate it. Thanks for the phone call. Yeah, those are good football coaches that were here with the last staff, and I think some of those guys will definitely land on their feet and be some other places. I haven't heard of anybody that is at this point in time, but there are good football coaches in there. I mean, you just look back at Nebraska's last 2 years and all those close games, it just wasn't quite working, but Nebraska was far from a fire pit. I mean, there was a lot of good football games that Nebraska just came up a play or two short here or there, and that's why the change was made by Trev Alberts, and rightfully so. That had to happen, but certainly a lot of excitement about the staff that Matt Rural is putting together. We certainly are trying to get sit-downs with all these new assistant coaches. We have an offer out that whenever it fits into Coach Rural's schedule to get him on here for an entire hour. Hopefully that'll happen sooner than later, but they're really busy. I mean, Matt Rule has not been in Lincoln much since he was named 2 weeks ago as the head coach. He was here for a couple days, and then this recruiting period is wide open. He is out and about. As Jessica and I talked earlier in the hour, he's been in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania for the last couple of days, and I know he did a pretty good run through the state of Nebraska talking to the young men that have committed to the program. That was kind of his first order of business the first few days, but now he's been traveling around. I think he was in Texas, been in Pennsylvania, all those type of things. So, he's really been busy. Some news coming out of California for UCLA in the last couple of hours. The Board of Regents for the California schools have met, and there was some talk that they might try to put up a roadblock to prevent UCLA from jumping from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten Conference. Apparently, they have gone ahead and given their blessing for UCLA to make that move in a couple of years, with a caveat. UCLA is going to have to annually pay the University of California, Berkeley, which is another one of their regent schools, between $2 and $5 billion annually. So every year, to kind of make up for a difference that UCLA might be making from the Big Ten TV rights to Cal and what they might be making in the Pac-12 rights. So this is kind of their way of saying, okay, we're going to let you leave, but another school within our system, so this would be like a UNO or a UNK in the Nebraska system. In California, UCLA and the University of Cal Berkeley are under the same system. So UCLA is going to have to write a check every year between $2 and $5 million, depending on what the new rights deal for the Pac-12 is, to subsidize Cal sports for UCLA to leave. So interesting little wrinkle in there that the regions out in California have put on the Bruin program, but it does clear the way for them to be able to make the jump to the Big Ten in just a couple of years. We're talking about just 2 years from now that they will now be members of the Big Ten Conference. USC doesn't have to deal with this because they're a private school. They're not part of a region system in California, so they don't have to do this. UCLA, trying to play nice with their region schools within the state, apparently has agreed to this stipulation that has just come down the pike here in the last couple of hours as they've wrapped up a regents meeting out in the state of California. So there you go. Looks like it's on for UCLA and USC to come to the Big Ten Conference. Folks, buckle up, put that phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. All right, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. We're back with more of the show next. Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid minerals with protein or Redmond natural mineral salt for livestock or humans, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blahorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
First Interstate Bank, built for you. Learn more at www.firstinterstatebank.com. Member FDIC. 402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question if you want to be a part of the last few minutes of Sports On. Again, at the top of the hour, Matt Cootney will be here along with head women's basketball coach Amy Williams. Such a quiet week in the sports world around the campus right now because of finals going on, but it'll get cranked up this weekend. The Husker men will be headed to Kansas City to take on K-State. Game 2 of a 3-year contract with the Wildcats. They visited PBA last year. This year they're playing the neutral site game at the T-Mobile Center down there in Kansas City, and then they'll go to Manhattan to finish off that contract next year. And it's like old Big 8 week around here because then the women will take on Kansas next Wednesday night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Reviving that old Big 8 rivalry with the Jayhawks, who have a nice team. They're ranked right now in the top 25. But first things first for the women, they will be entertaining the Cowgirls of Wyoming on Sunday at Pinnacle Bank Arena at 2 o'clock. So all those contests coming up here on HRN in the next couple of days. So the finals will be all over, and then the basketball players can just be basketball players. Don't have to worry about the books and going to class and finishing projects and doing all those type of things. It's a good time of year to be a basketball program. We talked earlier in the hour about Matt Rule and his staff out and about. The head coach was in Pennsylvania today. Yesterday, he tweeted a picture driving by the Temple campus, which was probably pretty prominent in his light because he was a head coach there. He was more in the central part of the state today, out visiting some prospective student athletes. This is going to be a big weekend coming up for the Huskers. Anticipated to have between 16 and 20 student athletes that'll be on campus for visits this weekend for Matt Rule's team. And then a week from today, folks, is National Signing Day for Husker football. So we'll have coverage on Huskers.com beginning at 8 a.m. next Wednesday morning as Matt Rule assembles his recruiting class, his first as Husker football coach. But we'll have complete coverage that day. We'll not have a sports outlay that night, but we'll have coverage on Huskers.com in the morning. So looking forward to jumping all over that. Time to tell you to buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Gonna have a fun show coming your way tomorrow night. Had a chance earlier in the week to talk to Grant Wistrom, who's going into the Orange Bowl Hall of Fame coming up later this month. He had played in 3 of them as a Husker. Played in the one that won the 94 National Championship game, went down there, played Virginia Tech at the end of the 96 season, and then obviously the 97 season finished with the Huskers beating Peyton Manning in Tennessee and Coach Osborne's final game. So Grant Wistrom going to be with us, and baseball coach Will Bolt's going to stop in tomorrow night. Talk a little fall ball. Their schedule is now out, and see what is ahead for Husker baseball in just a couple of months when their season will begin out in San Diego as they take on the Toreros for a 4-game series to begin their seasons. We have all that coming your way tomorrow night. Also, hoping to catch up with wrestler Peyton Robb before the week is over. He was a winner of his weight class at the Cliff Keen Invitational in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. Mark Manning's team headed up to South Dakota State in Brookings to wrestle the Jackrabbits over the weekend. So hoping to catch up with Peyton Robb this weekend. That'll do it for an hour of Sports Holiday. Stick around, though. We got our women's basketball show. Head coach Amy Williams, Matt Cootney coming your way next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Woodhouse Nissan makes car buying easy, enjoyable, and stress-free. We will bring the dealership to your driveway with Nissan at Home. You can shop, drive, and buy a new or pre-owned Nissan all from the comfort of your own home. Explore every aspect of the purchasing process at your pace and convenience. Get real pricing on your vehicle of choice, review lease and financing options, and complete a credit application. Get to your next adventure faster with Woodhouse Nissan.
I'm University of Nebraska-Lincoln student Hannah Pham with Campus News. Students in Nebraska's Rake School of Computer Science and Management created software that is saving a Nebraska e-commerce company 34,000 hours of work per year. Created by a group of 5 Rake School students for their Design Studio Capstone project, this software is one of 300 real-world software solutions created by Rake School students.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Families who travel to Nebraska's only Ronald McDonald House are facing extremely uncomfortable situations. Their child is sick in an unfamiliar city, unsure of how to handle it all. But when they walk in the Ronald McDonald House, they can find comfort in the little things. A quiet moment away from the bombardment of beeps and buzzes in a hospital room. The taste of a home-cooked meal. A calming voice saying it'll be okay. Help us provide the little things that make a big difference. Support a one-night stay for a family in need by visiting rmhcomaha.org/Huskers.
This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Show with head coach Amy Williams. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
On top, Shelley against that zone. Puts her head down. Works right elbow. Steps through back to Hake with 6 with 5. Step back 3, deep 3. You betcha! Callan Hake with the first triple of the game for the Huskers.
Boy, did Nebraska need that.
3 fouls. Redmond screen and roll caught by Bowman. Block! Kendall Coley blocked it. Coming from behind. And Ani Stewart has the loose ball. Cornoyer throws to a screen and roll. Catwheeler. Block! Markowski blocked it. She's doing it all. Widener throws it ahead. Maddie Kroll didn't get her feet set correctly. Out to Moriarty for 3. You betcha! Off the assist from Maddie Kroll. Kalo's on fire. That's a career-high 3rd triple. Shelley out, Hake in, Widener down the left lane line, and she scores. Allison Widener's taking over the game. She's got 12.
Yeah, and that's over the 6'5" extended arm of Bowman.
To the foul line, Markowski spins twice. Out to Kroll, looking down low, 8 to shoot. Jazz Shelley's going to create in the lane. Flips it up over her head, scores. How'd she hit that?
2 good finishes inside for Jazz here in the 4th.
Here is your host, Matt Coatney, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey, welcome to the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. I'm Matt Coatney, and across from me is the coach of a team on a 3-game winning streak, Amy Williams. It's finals week. It's fun to be a Husker fan right now with a record of 8-3, tied for the lead in the Big Ten Conference, 2-0, and in the midst of a big 5-game homestand. How is your finals week going?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. You always think, okay, this is kind of a week where we don't have any games, and it'll be a great time to kind of catch your breath, and then things just stack up on top of each other, and next thing you know, it's flying by. But I think today when we practiced, we had everybody but 2 players were completely finished with finals, and so the girls were happy and flying high and excited to have finished the semester strong, and just a couple that were kind of finishing things up here today or tomorrow.
Now, did you celebrate when your last final was over? Because you were probably over in the chemistry lab or the biology lab, you know, probably going, that's my last final, give me another test, I don't want to leave. I mean, you were that kind of student, weren't you? No?
I'll tell you, Matt, my favorite time of the year when I was a student athlete here at Nebraska was Christmas break, when finals were over, because you know, I always felt like during the school year I really had a hard time ever really fully relaxing, because I always felt like there was something I could be studying a little more, or there was something I could or should be reading, and even if I was gonna try to relax and enjoy watching a TV show or something, I was stressed out because I was thinking about what I could be doing. But once finals were over and you're just waking up every day and all you're thinking about is going to practice and becoming a better basketball player, I was like, this is what it feels like to be a pro athlete.
Oh, Amy Williams, the pro athlete.
Yeah.
The number, if you'd like to talk to Coach Williams, is 402-413-2400. That's our text line also, 402-413-2400. Huskers host Wyoming this Sunday, and then Kansas next Wednesday night. That will wrap up the non-conference season. But 3-0 in your last 3 games, a 3-game winning streak, beating number 20 Maryland, who then, after beating 7th-ranked Notre Dame on the road, lost to Nebraska, that turned around and beat a top 10 UConn team. So that win over Maryland looks really good. Then you've come home in a good way to go 2-0 in the Big Ten with the win over Wisconsin, then defeating Samford in one of the strangest games I've ever seen Saturday night. But let's go back a little bit to the Wisconsin game. I was a little worried after that big emotional road win at Maryland and not having Izzy Bourne and only having 8 players, and Ani Stewart having to make her first career start, that, you know, maybe your team would have a letdown. And they had the farthest thing from a letdown in a big 82-54 win on Wednesday night. And that lineup looked really, really good coming back home. Were you happy that your team didn't take the glow of the Maryland win and let that just, affect their game against Wisconsin. They came out and really kind of took it to the Badgers that night.
Yeah, I was thrilled with the focus that we had in that ball game. We had to shift some people in positions because of the injuries that we had on that last road trip to Trinity Brady, and then coming back home and losing Izzy right before that Wisconsin game. So with those two key injuries and two starters down, it meant that we were going to have to play some people out of position and out of where they're comfortable, and the girls didn't even bat an eye. They didn't buck at all. They just said, yep, what do we need? What does the team need me to do? And they bucked up and focused on it and just did that. And I just was really, really proud of the focus and intensity and effort that they gave, even when they were a little uncomfortable.
402-413-2400 is our Sports Nightly hotline. It's brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. With 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned, you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. And on that text line, a very, very regular texter to this show, Art in Los Angeles, says, please ask the coach, if she had to use only one word to describe Jazz Shelley, what would it be? And then he said, oh, and by the way, I already bought my plane tickets to Dallas for the Final Four. Art is nothing but optimistic.
Yes.
One word to describe Jazz Shelley. That's an interesting question.
Oh, my goodness. That is an interesting question. And
Vegemite. That way you know she's Australian.
Aussie. Aussie, right?
That's 3 words.
Yeah, I think the word that I would use is just connector. She is so versatile, and there's so many things I could use to describe her basketball game, but I think the way, my favorite thing about her is just the way that, she really invests in wanting to connect to the youth in our community, her teammates, just other people. Like, she just does a fantastic job of really connecting, and I think that's a pretty special trait.
Connector. Might have to tell her she's got a new nickname. Always like having a word for her when I walk out onto the floor before the game. 402-413-2400 on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline right here in the capital city of Lincoln is Joe. Let's go to Joe. You're on with Coach Williams.
Hello.
Joe, you're on with Coach Williams. Go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me?
Joe, we got you. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, I apologize. My first-time caller, big Husker fan, of course. Hey, Coach Williams, all I'm worried about curious about is Maggie Mendelson ready to play this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think there's a really good chance we're going to get to see Maggie in action here this weekend. We're excited about that. She took a few days off, and then I feel very fortunate that there is a team full of people, including our sports science staff and our 2 strength and conditioning coaches and 2 athletic trainers that have all been kind of putting their minds together just to keep a little eye on, kind of monitoring as we ease her from one sport to the next. And but she's rejoined our practices, and she just looks great, and we're super happy to have her out there. And she is such a quick learner, picking things up so quickly, and we feel excited that we're going to be able to hopefully see her real soon in game action.
Well, I hope it's Sunday. I'll be there Sunday to watch.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to ask folks to get out there to PBA Sunday. I think we're going to have a pretty big crowd. I've had a lot of people ask me what time the game is, and that's 2 o'clock on Sunday. I think a lot of people have Sunday open, so get on out there. The Huskers against Wyoming. So with Maggie Mendelson, I know last summer there was a lot of talk of, how's this going to work with volleyball and basketball, but now you're kind of on the back end of that. Volleyball season is over. I've often wondered, from a conditioning standpoint, your average fan is like, well, college athletes are very well conditioned, but is there a different conditioning level between softball and maybe track, volleyball and basketball, football and baseball? What kinds of things are, and concern isn't the correct word I'm looking for, but do you evaluate in her going from a conditioning level for volleyball maybe to basketball?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It just is. There's no doubt about it. And, we know she's been getting a lot of high-intensity jumps, for the last several months. But the movement, like lateral up and down and really kind of linear sprinting, that's just a little bit different, and it takes just a little bit different level of conditioning. Now, Maggie, her whole life has been a high achiever in both, and she's been able to shift from one to the other and kind of make those transitions, and so she's a little more prepared and used to those transitions, but there's definitely a curve where you have to just kind of work on that conditioning into it and easing into that process, and just a lot of smart people helping me make that decision to try to transition her healthy.
And you say a lot of smart people helping you. This is not something most coaches ever are fortunate enough to deal with, to get such a highly skilled athlete in two different sports do that. But have you visited with anybody on maybe some tips on how to make this work the best? Or I know you've talked a lot to the volleyball staff, but this is not a usual thing, or are you just trying to use your best judgment on how to best make this work?
Yeah, I mean, we've spent just a lot of time with looking at numbers, trying to do the best that we can with the analytics that are available to us, just with the NAPL and the staff and the load that she's going through, and after each one of our workouts, even if it's just a 1 hour skill workout with Maggie, we know exactly what type of load she incurred in that 1 hour practice. And so, as that builds throughout a week, being able to be smart with that and having good time for her to recover her body and just trying to make the best decisions. It's not an exact science. It's not, everything. But I think so far she's really adjusting well and looks great. And I know one thing, our team is so relieved to have her in practice. She just brings a lot to the table. Our team is better when she's out there with us at practice, and she's just such a great teammate that it just kind of completes us.
402-413-2400, 413-2400 if you'd like to visit with Coach Williams. A lot of fans ask me about Maggie, and we continue. We've got another text on our Woodhouse Auto Family text line. Don in Scottsdale, what role do you envision for Maggie Mendelson? And kind of going along with that, some of our fans may not even know what position she would play in basketball. Obviously pretty tall players, so you envision her to be down under. But just what, for your fan who's seen her playing at the Devaney Center, what really kind of player do you envision her being with the Huskers? What kind of position and what kind of skill set does she have?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing about Maggie is that she's a versatile kind of forward and post player. So we feel like she's more than capable of bringing things to the table as a 4 or as a 5. And so that just presents a lot of options for our team, and the fact that we feel really comfortable with her being able to play with Alexis, with Annika, with Kendall Coley, with Izzy. She can play, sub for them. She can play with them. She's got that versatility. And now it's just about her being able to kind of learn schemes and systems and timing and little small details to kind of sharpen up some of those things. But the fact that she is more than capable of, stretching on the perimeter, she's comfortable shooting it from the three-point line. She can do some things with her back to the basket, either shoulder. She's just dangerous because of the versatility that she brings.
402-413-2400 and on our Woodhouse Auto Family hotline in Kearney, Nebraska. Let's go to Kelly Kelly, you're on with Coach Williams.
Hi. Enjoy the program that you guys do. And Amy, I think you're a great coach, and you're doing good things. And I listen to you guys every night of the week. I was a high school sophomore. I'm 65 years old. I tied the school record in the half mile. Then I set the record in the mile and the 2 mile the next year, and those records still stand. And I had a great coach, and that's what I wanted to relate with you, that I think you're a great coach. Keep it going on. Love your program. Keep it going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the call, Kelly, and for the support of Nebraska women's basketball. And truth is, one of the big reasons that you get into coaching is to try to have that type of impact on young people. And some of my coaches are the most influential people in my life, next to my parents. And so you hope to have that on other young women.
Oh, super call. Kelly, we appreciate it. 402-413-2400. Dorothy Lynch, home style and light and lean dressing. Endless flavor abilities. We will have more of your calls. We'll review the Wisconsin game, review the interesting game against Samford, preview Wisconsin and Kansas coming up, and more of your calls and your texts when the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour returns in a few moments.
Hey, honey.
Hey, Mom. How did Jordan's interview go?
I'm not sure. Your brother isn't home yet. Oh, one sec. Someone's at the door.
Are you Mrs. Lewis?
Yes?
Mrs. Lewis, I'm Officer Taylor. Your son was in a crash and has died.
What?
He wasn't wearing his seatbelt and was ejected from the vehicle.
No. No.
Someone is counting on you to buckle up. Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
It's the Ford Shine Bright sales event, and Ford is helping you be a light for others this holiday season. Right now, get special offers on select Ford trucks and SUVs. Come in and choose a vehicle in stock, or simply place a custom order, lock in your rate, and you're protected. Hurry in to your local Ford dealer today and find the Ford vehicle that helps you shine bright all season long. Not all models, trims, or features may be available or may be subject to change.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdownsforteachers.
It's harvest special time, and you can save $3 per foot or $3,900 per quarter-mile system now on a T&L pivot system. Pivots worked long hours this season battling dry weather to save top-dollar corn and soybean crops. But did your pivots work like no other? If not, it's time to invest in a reliable, safe, low-maintenance T&L irrigation system. Hydrostatic drives move these durable workhorses continuously across fields. So get an irrigation system that works as hard as you do. Contact T&L Irrigation, your local T&L dealer, or visit us online at TLIRR.com. T&L irrigation systems like no other.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
It's time to get away in a new Hyundai vehicle during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Woodhouse Hyundai. The Hyundai lineup of sedans and SUVs has the capability you need and technology and features you want, like the all-new 2023 Hyundai Palisade and Hyundai Tucson. This holiday season, get into a vehicle that will give you confidence with Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Visit us online at WoodhouseHyundaiofOmaha.com.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Bank of the West is offering the first checking account designed for climate action. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. Shows you the estimated carbon impact of debit card purchases. And there's no minimum balance required. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre comprehensive programs. Register to win up to $10,000 of risk mitigation when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
When you're a fan, you wear your team's jersey on your back and your heart on your sleeve. After a win, your world glistens. Lose, and the hurt permeates your soul. You'll always have a place with us in the Cox Fan Zone, where everyone can play and connect with other fans in a big group hug. See, in the Fan Zone, you're not some crazy fan. You're home.
Hey, Husker fans, this is Greg Sharpe, voice of the Huskers. Say Fan Zone into your Contour voice remote to play. Not at home? Visit cox.com/fanzone. Go Huskers.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. I'm Matt Coatney. That's Amy Williams in our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Let's go back to our text line. Let's talk to Roger at 402-413-2400. He says, smashing win in College Park, Maryland. Coach Williams, speaking of athletic players on your bench, I favor Miss Kendall Coley. She's coming of age, and I feel she will get good minutes, especially as the Huskers get numerous, and I can't read the rest of the Big Ten players. Basically, he's complimenting Kendall Coley, who's had to really kind of step up with more minutes with Izzy Bourne been out.
She has, and I think she's brought something to the table. I thought that she was really aggressive, had a few block shots, kind of erased some mistakes for us defensively, and was much more tuned into our defensive game plan in this last ball game. And against Wisconsin, we needed her in both of those games with Izzy's injury, and I thought she rose to the occasion. And we're constantly wanting her to be a little more aggressive-minded on the offensive side of the ball, because we know she's more than capable. But I think as she's gaining comfort and just getting more opportunities, the more comfortable she gets, then we're going to continue to see her come of age and gain that confidence and show what she can do.
Roger, really good text, 402-413-2400 on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. On the text line, Todd in Grand Island has a question about some of the officiating calls. If you have a question on calls or non-calls during a game, do you send them to the league if the explanation being given by the officials on hand is not sufficient, and if the league does respond? And then the rest of his text is like, can you send in video clips? This is something that fans ask 2 or 3 times a year on our show, and I mean, this is obviously something that I think just about every team, you know, whether you're in the Big Ten or whatever league, but what is the mechanism and the machinations with that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they really strongly encourage feedback from us after games, and I think it shows how much the officials care about wanting to continue to get better and wanting to continue to learn and wanting to get things right, because we fill out a report after every game, and we are encouraged to send in clips that maybe we have questions about is this, are we seeing this? Do we know, like, what how could I better coach our team in this situation so we can avoid this type of call or in this situation, but in addition, just so that they can use those clips to teach not just the officials that had that particular game, but other officials. They have kind of a database that they send those clips into and say, this was a tricky one in real time, but if you watch this slow down, boom, 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 this is, something that, every official out there could really learn from. And so, I was a little stunned when I first came to the Big Ten that, they're going to call you out. Like, if you didn't get your officials' reports submitted and turned in, they're going to let you know about it. So they're serious about wanting to have our feedback, which I really appreciate. I think it helps grow our game and helps everybody, including myself, become better. Just the approach that they have to wanting our feedback and wanting to help us with explanations and help keep the communication lines open there.
402-413-2400 is our Sports Nightly hotline. It's brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. With 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned, you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. And that number again for your text or calls is 402-413-2400. All right, let's rewind to that Wisconsin game. No Izzy Bourne, so Ani Stewart got her first career start. And, we know Ani, we think of her offense ahead of her defense, and she had 21 points against Wyoming last year. She's always been a really good offensive player, but she comes in having to give you some minutes and help protect Alexis Markowski from getting in foul trouble. And boy, she stepped up and just really looked comfortable in that role. That had to make you feel pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah, I was thrilled with, Ani and her performance, and just, she sparked us on defense. Got a couple of times where they were trying to feed the post, and she got a deflection that led to a steal that led to some run-out transition points for us. And I just thought, her 6 rebounds, I think she's just really stepped up and played the way our team all knows she's capable.
402-413-2400 from our text line on our Woodhouse Auto Family hotline. Mark says, Coach, I really like Allison Widener's speed, dribble penetration, using her explosiveness. Looked like she's really worked at that. Mark in Omaha. Well,
yeah.
I like it too.
Me too.
Right?
I definitely like her speed and explosiveness, and I think what we're seeing is that she's always been speedy. Obviously, can't take any credit there. She came to us as a 12-time gold medalist in track or whatever the heck. She's an exceptional athlete and very speedy. But what I think she's really worked on is just her conditioning and, being able to keep things hooked up on the defensive end the way that she's had to. I thought it really showed in the second half of that Samford game. She sparked us, and, to do that on defense for an entire game and still maintain that explosiveness to the basket and creating shots for other people is it's pretty tough to do. And we ask a lot out of her, and I think she's just gotten better and better and better with her conditioning to be able to keep it hooked up the whole time.
And one of the greatest honors a player can get is going back to your high school to get your jersey retired. And that's going to happen for Allison Widener tomorrow night. The girls' varsity game in Humphrey expected to start at about 5:30 p.m. Central, and her jersey retirement ceremony occurs at halftime. Humphrey St. Francis, they host Summerland, and I could go on and on about her high school career. She's got some unbelievable statistics and honors and everything. But the number 3 all-time scorer in Nebraska, when you go back to your high school and you get your jersey retired, does it get any better than that, Amy?
I don't think it does.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it does. It's really special for her, and we're just so excited for her, and well-earned honor for her. And then we're just going to keep watching as she just keeps getting better in her college career.
You know, the people of Humphrey, they show up at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's almost like Allison Widener's still in high school there, because the same crowd is showing up here at PBA. I've always been impressed. Her parents are on the road all the time following her around. Her support system, you know, you talked a little bit about her track career, what she's done with basketball. Her support system, I have to think, has been a major part of all of her big success, and it continues on now, doesn't it?
No doubt about it. I'm talking just an absolutely quality family, the whole family, and they are so supportive of Allison and all of her teammates, our whole program, which as a coach I just really appreciate. And those 2 big brothers, I think they get a little credit, because I'm telling you, that is one tough young lady. And when you're the baby and the only girl, and you've got 2 big brothers that are, you know, picking on you the whole time you're growing up, you're bound and determined to probably end up pretty darn tough. And she sure is. I mean, she's taken some hits this year, and you know, her parents are like, hey, but you got a game Friday, so you better suck it up, Buttercup, you know. And they're certainly just quality and very supportive of Allison.
402-413-2400 if you have a text, or if you'd like to talk to Coach Amy Williams. Speaking of Widener, in the win over Wisconsin, she didn't get a double-double. She's had double-doubles in 2 of the last 3 games, but 13 points, just 7 field goal attempts, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, and a steal. The rebounding part of Allison Widener's game has improved recently. Is that a fair statement? And if it is, what has changed?
Yeah, I think it definitely is improved. And I think it's she just is really, I think, recognizing that she can impact the game for us in so many other ways than putting the ball in the basket. And we saw that with just the defensive intensity and pressure, and the way she raised that for our entire team in the second half of our last ball game. But also her ability to spark us by tracking rebounds and initiating offense afterwards. And so I think she's really seeing the value in what rebounding can do for the pace of the game that we play at, and also just spark us in ways other than just scoring the basketball.
On our text line at 402-413-2400, Brian from Auburn says, hi, Matt and Coach Amy. It's so great to listen to you. Coach Amy, you have done a dynamite job with the Lady Eskers. Thank you to both of you. Brian from Auburn. You've been to Auburn, Nebraska before?
Yeah.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah, down there in Nemaha County. The first time I went to Auburn, I was trying to figure out where downtown was. They have 2 downtowns. Yeah. There's Highway 136 and 75 that's kind of developed into a downtown, but then there's the original town, which there's kind of a diagonal street takes you up there to where the courthouse is, and I can always tell when we're flying back from kind of maybe from Illinois or somewhere where we kind of come north of Kansas City, where we are, because you can always spot Auburn, Nebraska from the air, unless it's cloudy, because there's the 2 downtowns. Very clear. I know exactly where we are. You know, I digress, Brian. Thank you. Also, on our text line at 402-413-2400, Dennis says, in men's basketball, there's the flop rule. Do you see that coming in women's basketball?
I'm not sure if we'll see that coming. I do think that it's a possibility that we could see that move into the women's basketball game, because we've noticed the last couple of years that it is a part of the point of emphasis that we get from the officials at the beginning of seasons about they don't call it flopping. They call it kind of faking being fouled or whatever. And
really?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, emphasizing the faking of being fouled. And we, we are all for
So they don't call it the Iowa rule then. They call it faking being fouled. I said it, you didn't. I'll take the hit on that one then. Okay.
Yeah. So Maddie Kroll, who will actually step in and take a heavy charge, that's one thing, and we strongly encourage that. But the faking being fouled, thing is not something we really teach in our program. So to be honest, we would really welcome that to the women's games.
Sure, you would. 402-413-2400 is the number. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. More of your texts and your calls when we return in a few moments on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show.
Experience the difference at Woodhouse Buick GMC. From the GMC Acadia to the Buick Encore, we're sure to have a vehicle that fits your lifestyle. Our climate-controlled showroom guarantees a comfortable shopping experience every time you visit. Plus, our commitment to our customers continues well beyond the date of purchase. You will leave our lot feeling comfortable and confident in your new vehicle. Start your car buying journey today, in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. We are professional grade.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm University of Nebraska-Lincoln student Hannah Pham with Campus News. Nebraska has taken over leadership from Princeton University in coordinating the U.S. physics community at the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland. For its role, Nebraska has been awarded over $50 million in National Science Foundation grants. This cutting-edge work at the world's largest particle accelerator helps physicists uncover the origins and makeup of the universe.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance. Visit shelterinsurance.com and find an agent to help you choose the coverage you need. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue.
you. SOS. SOS.
Beardmore Subaru celebrates Nebraska volleyball again this season. 5 national championships, 47 All-Americans, and a home sellout streak dating back to 2001. The longest streak for any women's sport in NCAA history. Beardmore Subaru has been a proud supporter of Husker volleyball for more than 10 years. Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the new Subaru Outback Wilderness, loaded with off-road ready upgrades, and the new Solterra, Subaru's first ever all-electric and all-wheel drive vehicle. Go Big Red.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Matt Coatney with Coach Amy Williams. 402-413-2400 is the number. If you'd like to visit with a coach, a text, or our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, the Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. With 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned, you can always find what you were looking for with Woodhouse. Amy, I want to thank you for bringing Jazz Shelley all the way from down under here. She has just absolutely been on fire lately, talking about that Wisconsin game. She had 31 points when you only had 8 players, and she just seems to be playing free and easy right now. She had the big game in Puerto Rico against Mississippi State, and has just been leading this team. You know, you've got some people out right now. Captain Sam Hybe, you've got Izzy Bourne's not been playing. Jazz is it fair to say she's kind of assumed a little bit of a leadership role with those absences?
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say, and you know, she's kind of just really gained confidence, you know, over the last several ball games with just playing with better pace, and I think that she's created some offense for herself, and when she is more aggressive-minded offensively, she's able to create offense for everybody else on our team as well, and so we've seen that out of her, but most definitely she has stepped into a leadership role, and we've watched as, you know, she's just one of those players that she's had a lot of experiences in the game of basketball, and now after having a full year in a Husker uniform and very successful, when she talks, everybody listens, and you can just tell that the kids are really keyed in on what her opinions and thoughts are, and she's very insightful, sees things, you know, that some people are maybe not seeing, or sees things that can be beneficial to the whole group. And so I think, you know, that to me is a telltale sign as a head coach, is just watching the way that her teammates respond when she speaks.
402-413-2400 is the number. Let's go back to the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Let's talk to Bruce, who is in Oregon. Bruce, you're on with Coach Williams.
Hey, Coach Amy. It's great to talk to you again. I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of you, proud of the girls. You're a great coach. But my question is, so the trap that the men did in the Purdue game, if this happens in men or your team, can the refs look at that play, or is that just basically like it's a foul? We can't look at the ball because it came out.
Right. Yeah. That there are only a few things that are reviewable right now in our sport and in our game, and so a play like that, not reviewable. A play that's, a foul called like late in the last 2 minutes of the ball game. Any ball that goes out of bounds, they can go to the monitor and be able to see who the ball legitimately went out on. That's reviewable. Time, being able to adjust the time clock. There are some instances where block charges can be looked at based on if it's, it was in the circle or not, but whether or not it was a whistle for a foul that was a phantom foul, like that is not a reviewable play that that they can legitimately go to the monitor and look and say, okay, we missed that call.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bruce, we appreciate the phone call from Oregon. 402-413-2400. If you have a text or a comment for Coach Williams, we'll have more with the coach when we return in just a few moments.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
The name on the mailbox may say Smith, Myers, Baumgartner, or Johnson, but when you choose to plant with Rob Seco, it includes your name too, making you a stockholder in a company that's invested in you. With the simplicity that makes us easy to do business with, relationships that bring more to the table, the technology, traits, and genetics that take on local conditions, and people with the know-how to use it. At Rob Seco, the only stockholder we listen to is you.
Shelley up the middle of the floor. Huskers lead by 11. Shelley, no look pass underneath to Markowski. And it counts. And a foul. Another highlight reel assist from Jazz Shelley. And Markowski goes to the line.
Just a terrific look off by Jazz Shelley.
Hey, Huskers fans, this Sunday, join us as Nebraska women's basketball takes on Wyoming at the PBA. Matt Coatney and Jeff Greesh are live at 1:45 p.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdowns-for-teachers.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. CVA's Elite Acre gives growers assurance of profits and margins in volatile global markets. Manage your risk. Lock in your ROI through CVA's Elite Acre comprehensive programs. Register to win up to $10,000 of risk mitigation when you go online to cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Our remaining moments with Coach Amy Williams coming your way. Nebraska 811 says, go dig red. And before you dig, always call or click 811 to have your utility lines marked. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Coming up this Sunday, 2 p.m., Nebraska hosts Wyoming. It just seems to me like we just played Wyoming. It was a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. Pretty competitive game, 72-61 Nebraska won it, but as I recall, Wyoming really made a big push in the fourth quarter. How different is this Wyoming team from the one you saw last year?
They're quite similar, to be honest with you, and it's been a team that's been in the NCAA tournament, had a lot of success. They played Gonzaga to a 2-point game earlier this year, just a team we're pretty familiar with, and they have a Omaha native from Omaha West Side High School that's a fifth-year senior that's played a lot of really good quality minutes at Wyoming that just sparks them and is their leading scorer. So I'm sure she's going to be, wanting to come back to Nebraska and put on a show. And they're just so well coached, very disciplined. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They just don't turn the ball over. They make great reads. They're very, very disciplined team. So a tough challenge.
And they also have a really good center in Allison Fertig, who was 8-game freshman last year and had, I think, 16 points against the Huskers. So they're inside and outside and a very experienced post. Maybe it's good Maggie Mendelson might be available for you on Sunday. And then you get Kansas. I'm sure when you scheduled Kansas, you probably didn't know that they were going to be undefeated and in the rankings for the first time since 2013. They're undefeated right now. That is going to be a lot like a Big Ten upper-level game, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. I haven't really dug deep into their film yet, but just watching their scores and knowing, the personnel that they have and some of the key transfers they've added, and, they just are, they're really good and playing incredibly confidently right now.
The Huskers against Kansas Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's December the 21st. And, of course, we're talking about the Wyoming game Sunday at 2 p.m. You can enjoy it right here on the Huskers Radio Network. Jeff Griesch and I will have that. Now, so you've got those two games. Does the team, in terms of the holiday, get any time to scatter and head home, or how does that all work?
Yes, I sure wish that they got just a little bit more time to scatter and enjoy the holidays, but we play that game on the 21st, and they'll be free to go, and then have the 22nd through Christmas Day off, and then we got to get right back at it, and we've got a conference game on the 28th of December right after the break. So just a few days to kind of recharge and connect to family and enjoy the Christmas holiday, and then we're right back into Big Ten play.
I would say this has been one of the strangest Decembers in a good way, in that it seems like you've been here in Lincoln the whole time. You were gone the whole month of November. You're in Puerto Rico, you're at Virginia Tech, and then you stayed out on the East Coast. And then it's very strange in that you start 2-0 in Big Ten play, and then you're back to non-conference play. But it hasn't seemed to affect your team. So your team, especially people like Alexis Markowski, Allison Widener, talk about Jazz Shelley, you've really got some leaders here, and that's been showing this month, I think.
Yeah, we're going to need to continue to lean on that leadership and sustain that for extended periods, and that's something that we're going to count on them for here into the next couple weeks.
Well, I've enjoyed this. Thank you to our texters. Thank you to our callers. My thanks to Tim Melhop and Greg Sharpe at our first hour. Let's go get a win on Sunday, Amy Williams.
Sounds good to me, Matt. Thanks.
All right, that wraps up the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show, and we appreciate everybody listening. Good night, Nebraska.
Up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Can you name one thing that's more exciting than football in Nebraska? Okay, maybe not, but there's something that comes close. Scratch tickets from the Nebraska Lottery. That's right. Choose from a variety of play styles with huge top prizes. There's something fun for everyone. So, when football isn't on, pick up some scratch tickets from the Nebraska Lottery.
Play is good. Go play. Odds vary by game.
Across the timeline to Tominaga, back to Griesel. Griesel on the right sideline, starts in, cut off. Tominaga, 3 ball on the way. Bang! Ba, ba, ba! in the ring. Tominaga ties this puppy at 56.
Hey, Huskers fans, this Saturday, join us as Nebraska men's basketball battles Kansas State in Kansas City. Kent Pavelka and Jake Muehlheisen have the call at 5 p.m. Tune into your local affiliate or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
It's the Ford Shine Bright sales event, and Ford is helping you be a light for others this holiday season. Right now, get special offers on select Ford trucks and SUVs. Come in and choose a vehicle in stock, or simply place a custom order, lock in your rate, and you're protected. Hurry in to your local Ford dealer today and find the Ford vehicle that helps you shine bright all season long. Not all models, trims, or features may be available or may be subject to change.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so cold. The furnace is out again. SOS, he screams, and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating